Hey guys, what's up? This is Koganinja, and I'm back with another audio video. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to be talking, and it's not really a video, so you do not have to have your face planted on the screen. I'm just going to have a couple of slides up just depicting some information just on how to get a hold of me, that kind of thing. But at this point, if you decide you want to get back to what you're doing, you can go ahead and do it. Because at this point, you really don't need to be watching the screen. Like I said, at this point, everything that needs to be said on how to get a hold of me and to check out my website is in front of you. So at this point, you can get back to what you're doing and just listen with an open ear and an open mind. So let's get into this video. So in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is this whole idea that you do not need to buy or attend dice control classes. In other words, you don't have to spend money to have someone teach you dice control. And I hear this in the community, the craps community, all the time, and it usually comes from people who are losers, who don't know anything about dice control. And if you look at their records, they are lifetime winning losers. They are not lifetime winning players. So it's a pretty sad state of affairs to be getting advice from people who just don't know what they're talking about. It's one thing to get information from somebody who's been there before, has gone to a class and has gotten training, and then if for some reason they've done everything that they needed to do, but they just for some reason are just consistently losing, but yet they've given it the full college try, that's a different story. But to talk straight out of your ass from a point where you've never done anything, where you've never taken classes or downloaded a learning course, a video learning course, just to talk completely out of your ass is asinine. Okay, it's really, really stupid to be listening to people that have not gone before you. And this is a big problem in the dice control community. You hear advice from people that don't know what they're talking about. They have not gone before you, meaning they've never taken any kind of classes. They've never downloaded a quality video learning course of any kind. They just try to compile everything for free on the internet or in books, and they think that they're experts. And the reality is they're not. Most of those players, I would say 97% of those players are lifetime losing craps players. That is how I see things. So like I said, in this little audio video, I want to get new guys and intermediate guys to understand that you have everything to gain by paying somebody to learn the skill correctly. And here's what you need to understand. And I've been saying this since years already. The reality is, if you want to be an excellent to great player, dice controller, you need to have a mentor or a coach. That is a fact. And if you do not do that, you're never going to get good at this. You will never have consistent wins in your career. You're only going to have sporadic results all the way through your dice control career, and you will never be on the winning side of the spectrum, of the graph. All right? And that's a fact, guys. You have to have a coach or a mentor that will sit there and tell you, yes, you're doing this correctly. No, you're not doing this correctly. This is what you're doing incorrectly. Let's fix it. If you do not have someone that knows what they're talking about, you will never be on the right side of the winning spectrum. You're just not. That's a fact. Okay. When I started dice control, I was doing dice. I was self-taught for roughly 8 months. I was 8.5 months roughly. I was self-taught for roughly 8 months before I found the two guys who I considered my coaches at the time. And it was because of these two guys that I was able to excel past what I had been doing, simply because they were telling me, yes, you're doing this correctly. No, you're not doing that correctly. You need to change this. You need to do this. And it was through their guidance that got me past a level that I probably would have never gotten past if it wasn't for these two guys. And I tip my hat to these two guys for giving me that opportunity. And so if you think that you're gonna gather up all the information that you see on YouTube and read a couple of books and go out and start becoming a successful dice controller, being self-taught, you're blowing smoke straight up your ass. That's a fact, guys. And I'm sorry to be blunt, and I'm sorry to be asshole-ish about it, but the reality is you're never going to get good. You're never going to be on the right side of the graph, the right side of the spectrum, which is where everybody wants to be. You're just not. You're going to stumble in the dark, stumble around trying to figure out what works. Now, this is the problem. This is the problem with the internet. You're going to get a lot of disinformation, a lot of misinformation. And because of it, you're going to be stumbling around in the dark, trying to use these techniques that have not been fully worked out, and you're going to end up losing in the long run. And you could literally waste years of your life trying to figure this out. Literally, you could waste years and not get anywhere. Literally years off your life and hundreds to thousands of dollars trying to figure this out, when you could just drop your fucking ego. Just drop the ego and say, you know what? I need help. I need someone to teach me how to do this. And go seek out a quality instructor such as myself, or purchase and download one of my video learning courses. I mean, it's just that simple. And I would venture to say that 97% of the people that are self-taught and struggling and stepping around in the dark, stumbling around in the dark, and wasting years of their life, they have spent and lost more money at the tables trying to figure it out than if they had just gone to a quality instructor such as myself, paid the admission price, and was properly put on the path to learning dice control correctly. They've probably lost 3 to 5 times the amount of what I would charge in one of my one-on-ones or group seminars. It's astounding what I see guys doing because they want it for free. All right, it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you think that you're going to be a successful dice controller, self-taught, you're lying to yourself. You're cheating yourself. You're blowing smoke up your ass. It's not going to happen. If I had to say, out of everybody, I would say out of 5,000 people that attempted dice control, I would say less than I would say 2 to 3. 3 stretching it would be absolutely successful with dice control and on the right side of the spectrum. I don't want to say 5,000. That's I'm exaggerating. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I would say 1,000. For every 1,000 people that attempt dice control, I would say 2 to 3 would truly be successful and being on the right side of the spectrum, being self-taught. And that is extremely, extremely low percentage. So you have to think about what you want to do. Are you going to be a weekend warrior, someone who plays occasionally, or a lot, that comes out on a Las Vegas jaunt once every 4 months or 3 months or 6 months and plays, for the weekend, and then they don't play again for the rest of the year? Are you going to be that weekend warrior, or are you going to be somebody that is going to be playing consistently, 4 to 5 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week consistently, and expect to be on the right side of the spectrum? And I would even go far as to say that for every 1,000 people that attempt dice control, learning it by themselves, I would say maybe 1 out of 1,000 people are self-taught, where they're playing 4 to 5 times a week and they're on the right side of the spectrum. I hope that it's kind of sounded confusing when I was saying it, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So here's what you need to understand, guys. There's no shame in dropping the ego and seeking out someone who's better than you. There just isn't. And I'm going to give you a little bit of food for thought, and then I'm going to talk about an experience that I had tonight. And that is, here's the food for thought. If you look at top tier 1 special forces guys like Navy SEALs, Delta Force, the SAS, and this is what you need to ask yourself, do you really think that everything that they do within their skill sets, do you honestly think that it was all their skill sets came from in-house only? If you think that everything that they know and everything that they're able to do, if you believe that they've never had to go outside of their house for outside instruction to do what they do, if you think that everything that they've ever done is in-house only, that's been taught in-house only, you're lying to yourself. That's absolutely false. That's incorrect, okay? Every top tier organization, special forces organization, has stepped out of their wheelhouse and learned to do certain skill sets by people who have come before them, people that know what they're doing and are better at what they do than they do, okay? So, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example. Delta Force. Delta Force, they're always looking for ways to, use hand-to-hand combat to neutralize their enemy. And when Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu hit America, who do you think that they went and hired to teach them? They went out and got Hoist Gracie to teach the unit how to take out combatants in the ground game. They actually stepped out of their wheelhouse and said, look, our ground game sucks. Let's go to the people that really know this. So they hired the Gracie family, and Hoist Gracie in particular, to come in and train Delta Force on how to fight on the ground. They stepped out of their wheelhouse. That's just one example. Here, I'll give you another example. The Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs are always looking for ways for hand-to-hand combat to, again, take out their enemy combatants using hand-to-hand. So, what did they do? They reached out to a guy named Paul Vunak, who is a student of Dan Inosanto, and who's Bruce Lee's protege, and they reached out and liked what Paul Vunak had been doing and teaching, and they said, we want you to teach what you know. we believe that your fighting system is better than ours, and so we want you to train our team, SEAL Team 6. And so they got Paul Vunak to train them, and he spent, 4, 5, 6 years, something like that, training the Navy SEALs out in Virginia. The Navy SEALs stepped out of their own wheelhouse and sought instruction from a person who was better at doing what they do better than they did. Okay? So again, this is how things evolve, guys. You have to learn to step out of your wheelhouse. Okay? And I'll give you the one last one about the SAS. The SAS, back I think in the 60s or 70s, maybe possibly early 80s, something like that, hired a botanist to teach the SAS wilderness survival skills. What plants to eat, what plants you can't eat, or you poison yourself and die, things like that. They went outside of their wheelhouse, hired the best of the best to teach them wilderness survival skills and how to identify certain plants. And they went to a university, I think she was a university, and it was a university professor. So every top tier special forces unit will always seek out people who are better than they are at whatever particular skill set and have them teach it to them. Okay, so that they become better at what they do. And this is the mindset that you should have if you expect to go out and be consistent on the craps table. That's a little bit of food for thought, guys, that you should consider and think about. All right, so in closing, let me tell you what happened. What happened, as a matter of fact, tonight. And this should give you a little bit, hopefully will open your mind up just a little bit to what I've been saying. Today, I actually, after I had dinner, and I rarely ever do this. I used to do this all the time when I first started. I would go out and I would observe the craps tables and watch people and see what they're doing. And I hadn't done this in a while. I hadn't gone out and done this in a while. But today felt like a good day. And so after I had some dinner, I went out and I stood by the craps table. Hanging out, drinking some beers and stuff, relaxing, smoking cigars. And I noticed and I watched the craps table. I was watching the craps table. And over a period of about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, I saw around, I think it was, if I remember correctly, about 8 or 9 people throughout the 2-hour session that I was there, observing session, saw about 8 or 9 people attempt dice control. Using the 3-finger, setting the dice, using a 3-finger overhand grip, and tossing the dice at a 45-degree angle. And out of those 8 or 9 people, players that I saw, every single one of them was throwing the shot incorrect. All of them were throwing the shot incorrectly. That should tell you something. That should tell you that it's not as easy as you think it is. And even the basic par throw, they weren't even throwing the basic par throw, which is a flaw, which is an old, outdated and flawed technique, which I talk about in my previous video, the big misconception. They couldn't even throw that basic par throw correctly. That should tell you something, guys. That should tell you something. Out of 8 or 9 guys over a period of about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, nobody could throw the shot correctly. Not one person threw it correctly. That should tell you something right there. That should tell you that it's not what you think it is, okay? And it's not as easy as you think it is. Every one of them was throwing the shot incorrectly. It was, I mean, and if I had to make a checklist of everything that they were doing wrong, oh, it'd be half a mile long, all the stuff that they were doing incorrectly to throw the shot. So, and that happened tonight. Now, if I did that every night for 7 days, the number would just be through the roof. If I did a three-hour session every day, an observation session for 7 days straight, for 3 hours a session, it'd be astronomical the amount of people that I would see throwing incorrectly, attempting to throw controlled, but would end up throwing incorrectly. I don't think I would see one person doing it correctly. So that should tell you something, guys. So think about this video, this audio video. Think about what I've talked about. This whole idea that you should never pay. You're stupid and you're a sucker if you pay for dice control lessons. That whole idea is stupid. You're stupid. You're blowing smoke up your butt if you think that that's the truth. If you think that you can learn dice control correctly, self-taught, and be on the right side of the graph, the right side of the spectrum, where you're consistently winning and you're a competent lifetime winning craps player, if you think that you can do that self-taught, you are delusional. I'm sorry to say, you are absolutely delusional. You need to learn this and have a coach. You have to have a mentor. You have to have somebody that knows what they're talking about and can identify what a proper controlled shot looks like versus an inadequate controlled throw. You have to have somebody to tell you and to teach you how to do it correctly. There's just no other way, guys. You need somebody who has come before you. So, this is what I'd like you to do. Do a little self-homework. Think about all the hours that you've spent, all the money that you've lost at the casino, all the books and everything that, all the money that you've put together, you've used to compile, put your dice rigs together and figure all that out and come up with the number of how much money that you've spent so far. And I guarantee you that most of y'all will come about 80% close to what I would charge for a group seminar. And you've either and 80% of you have probably spent more than what I charge for a group seminar, and you're stumbling around in the dark trying to figure this out. You're not getting anywhere. You're wasting money. You're wasting money, and you're wasting years on your life. My advice to you, if you really want to get good at this and you really want to be a competent lifetime winning craps player, you need to come to a quality instructor like me who has stripped away all the garbage, all the stuff that does not work, has solidified it into a curriculum that works and that is repeatable. And let me just show it. Let me teach it to you. That way you're not pulling shit out of your ass. You're not pulling stuff from the internet that you would think that works. I will teach you a curriculum that is solidified and casino proven and student proven to win money in the casino. And it's something that I can teach anybody how to do. So don't get into this whole idea that you can learn this by yourself, because the reality is you can't. I mean, you really can't. I mean, for every 1,000 people that attempt dice control self-taught, maybe one will be successful and will be on the right side of the spectrum, on the right side of the graph. where they are competent lifetime winning craps players. All right, guys, there you go. That's the end of this video. Reach out to me at Koganinja777 if you'd like to come out and do a group seminar with me. I'm only holding 2 group seminars for 2020. The rest of the year, I'm just going to be concentrating on one-on-ones. If you want to do a one-on-one, reach out to me at Koganinja777 Also, check out my website, www.koganinjadicecontrol.com, and check out, I have all the information on there for group seminars, blah, blah, blah. And check out the amazing products that I have for sale. My Koganinjas Kick-Ass Dice Control video course, which is a basic to intermediate level dice control course on axis methodology using the 3-finger overhand grip and 45-degree toss, which is what's popular all over the internet and in the books. Then I've also got a master level A to Z encyclopedia on the art of off-axis throwing called the Evolution Throw, and that is a standalone course. It's the best off-axis course you will ever find. No one's ever going to top what I did. It is literally the best of the best of the best. The information I got on there is going to stand tall and true for many, many years to come before anybody can topple what I've done in that video course. And like I said, it is a standalone course. It's amazing, guys. And then of course, I did a project, with a partnership with a guy named Travis McGee, where we released his methodology for charting. It's called the Trinity Method, and it is absolutely amazing, guys. And all that information can be found in the product section of my website at www.koganinjadicecontrol.com. All right, guys. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this little audio video, and if you have any questions of any kind regarding dice control, reach out to me at Koganinja777@yahoo.com, and I will try to answer to the best of my ability. All right, guys, I'm out. You have a good one. Take it easy.